right, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the It's a Tech Tip webinar. Today we're talking about the Promethean panel. As you can see here, we got one extra size, extra large panel here. And this is a Promethean titanium panel. And we know that because of all the buttons down here. That tells us that this is a Promethean titanium, where the new active panel 9s, which you might have on your campus, probably only have 3 buttons right up here. So that's going to be a big difference. With this panel, you're going to get a remote. You're probably going to get 2 pins, or you should have 2 pins, and then a neat magnetic eraser, which is usually on the back of the panel because it's nice and magnetic and it sits on the back. If you remember having all that stuff, then you can break it out before the start of the new school year. If you are lucky enough to have a mini PC on this, it will be over here on the left side or the right, whichever way you're looking at it. It's sitting up here at the top. It's a Dell mini PC. And so you can use both the Promethean program and the Dell mini PC with the Windows 10 software. So let's cover some basics so that we can get started. Before we even start touching the panel, the buttons up here in the front, you have your power button. This power button will have it go to sleep if you press it once, and then you can go ahead and press it again to wake it up, and you would tap on your account. Okay, so that's the buttons. We have volume buttons right here, which will bring up this nice display. I like this because I like large mode on my buttons down there. So when I do the volume, I'm able to tap on large mode and my icons get a little bigger. So let me do that again and do normal mode, and you will see a difference in the size of the icons. So if you like the larger icons, I can tap the volume button and switch over to large mode. So I do like that little feature there, that I can do that. As you can see, I have the toolbars on 3 sides. So I have them both on the left and right, but I also have it at the bottom. So I can access the toolbar from any side and also right here in the center. Besides in my volume screen, I also have the brightness, and I also have contrast if I want to play with that. And I do have the control here for the volume, which I can use the buttons for, or I can use that remote that I have as well. I have palm mode turned on, and I want that because I want to be able to erase with my palm if I don't want to use that eraser. And then I have second pin mode as well. If you ever need information about the panel to share with your IT, you can click on the I, and that will give you the firmware, the model number. Sometimes your IT person will ask you for the serial number of the panel because they can remotely manage this panel and fix whatever needs to be fixed, push out updates, and even unlock it. So if you get to your panel and you move rooms and the owner account is locked, you're going to need this information here so that your IT person, the IT person who runs the management system, can unlock, pretty much reset the panel so that you can use the owner side and create your accounts. Okay, so that's just the panel settings here. We have the Promethean Flame, which opens up the toolbar. It'll open it up at the bottom, but remember you have the 2 side toolbars, and you do have that nice freeze button. So whether you're projecting, using something on the panel, or maybe you connected your document camera, if you have a document camera, you can freeze that screen. So I'm going to open that up and freeze, and I can freeze the screen, and I will see a nice snowflake up here at the top, and I know that my screen is now frozen, and I can go and remove a document, change the document out on my Promethean, on my document camera, and then when I unfreeze, it will show that new document or that new window. So I have that freeze button as well. And next to that is my disable touch button. I can press that button to disable touch, and I will see the button up there, the symbol up there, and I can press it again to enable the touch. So if this is Promethean is right next to your door where kids line up and you don't want them messing with your panel, you can always go ahead and disable the touch from there. And that way they won't be able to activate anything on the panel. So that's a nice little push. And the last button we have here is your source button. If you're lucky enough to have a Promethean and a mini PC connected to this, then I can switch my sources. If I have a not a mini computer, but a document camera, and I plug it into the ports here or to the ports on the side, it will show the source for that document camera as well. So any source, if I plug in a USB, if I plug in an OWL camera, those sources will show up by pressing the source button, okay? And last but not least is you might not see the subtle black space, but this is the IR for the remote. Those two, you want to make sure that's clean if you're using the remote, because that is where the sensor is at for that remote. All right, so let's talk about the Promethean programming. So I have the flame. The flame is where I have all my tools, right? So over here on the beginning side over here with the locker allows me it shows me all the apps that I have on the panel, to include the spinner, to include the timer. We'll talk about those in a bit. The whiteboard is one of those programs apps that you will be using a lot as well. Annotate is a very good tool to go ahead and write on anything that's on this panel. And obviously we have our Chromium, so we can go on the web. And we also have our files where we can store files, pictures, screenshots that we take on this device, as well as connect our cloud services if we wanted to, all right? Down here at the bottom, I have camera, which I can use with some of the document cameras that connect via USB. I can use that feature. If I plug in USB to the panel, I can use the camera to view the image of the document camera. Some document cameras work via that camera app, okay? I also have settings. So when I go to settings, I'm able to connect to the Wi-Fi. Now, hopefully you're connected to the Ethernet. You're hardwired to the wall. That is the best way to connect. But I know we were speaking with librarians today. By the way, we're here at Birches High School, and they were kind enough to lend us the space. And we spent the whole day working with librarians and showing them how to use various apps. But one of the things was a Promethean, and their Prometheans are probably going to be portable, so they're going to be able to move them around. And so if they don't have access to a quick port, Ethernet port, then they can connect to Wi-Fi using the network settings, okay? We also have the display settings. I have a nice wallpaper. This is the generic Promethean wallpaper, but I can go ahead and click display and go ahead and change my wallpaper from there. So you have a few things that you can do here in the settings. In the same locker, I also have, and I'm going to skip to timer and spinner because I think these are the two most used apps besides the whiteboard and the annotate. But if I go to timer, I have a nice timer view here. And this is an updated timer from what we previously had. And I can move this around anywhere I want. I can also increase the size. So if I click that magnifying glass, I can select whether I want a large timer or whether I want a medium, small, and I can even go full screen on this timer. Okay, so that's a nice little feature. I can also add more timers. I can add up to 4 timers. And if I'm doing something like station rotation, I can set these up. And then once one timer rings, then I can go ahead and start the other one. They don't connect, they don't synchronize, but I can have a student come up, and once that one rings, they can turn on the next one to go to the next station. So I have various different features, but I can also change the timer. I have preset timers, but I have some settings here where I can go ahead and change the timer to a stopwatch, change this and the timer to just a regular clock. So I wanted to have the time up here on the screen, which I really don't need if I'm in the home screen, but if I'm in another screen, I may need to have a clock right there using the timer. But the other settings that I have in here with the timer is I can do different celebrations and sounds. So that's a new feature with this new timer. I can select a specific celebration like confetti. You just saw that, right? Or I can select something like fireworks, right? So that's a really nice celebration there. And then I can also have sound. There's my alarm sound. I can do a harp, or I can do a music box. Okay. So I have those options, but then I also can have an end phrase at the end of the timer where I can choose congratulations, well done, times up or times up pencils down. So I have those 4 options, which are new with this updated timer from when we first got the Promethean. So this is a nice update to the timers with these settings right here. So that is your timer. And next to the timer in the locker, so the locker is where we see all the apps, is the spinner. I love the spinner function. I think most teachers love this because I can add student names. This is set by continents right now. So all I have to do is tap it and it'll start spinning. Right now it's in small mode, but remember I can click that magnifying glass and I can go to medium, large, full screen, whatever it may be, okay? I can also go to the settings gear and change some of the settings. If I want a celebration and a sound, I can do that after every spin. I can also increase or decrease the spin duration. So if I wanted to make the kids, just really, oh my God, what it's gonna land on, then I can increase the number of spins and make that spin just last a little longer. So 6 seconds, or I can just say, you know what, I want it to go right away, and that's it. So 0, no time lag. It is preset to 3 seconds for that anticipation. And I can switch my spinners. So I have continents right now, but I can select numbers and shapes. The nice thing is I can create my own. So if I wanted to create a list of students, then I can do that. And then I can go ahead and press that and randomly select students to participate, to answer a question, to join a team, all that. And again, just like I can have multiple timers, I can have multiple spinners. So if I wanted numbers on both of my spinners, then I can, practice addition, multiplication, division, stuff like that. I can set it up with different numbers, table mates. I can do groupings. I can do all sorts of stuff. I can have up to 4 of these spinners, just like I can have up to 4 timers as well. So I like that feature as well. I think that's one of the features that teachers really like. I'm going to go back into this locker. And I'm going to talk to you about the whiteboard. So the whiteboard is probably one of the preferred programs, one of the favorite programs. And I'm going to go and clear. I don't want to clear this whiteboard, but I can start a new one. I'm just going to start a new whiteboard right up here. And so you have a white screen right here. And I have quite a few tools that I can use to write on this whiteboard. Right at the top, obviously we have the 3 dots to open up a new one, to open up one that I've saved, to save a whiteboard, save as. I can even export it as a PDF screenshot and it'll save in the files. I can export it as a PDF canvas and I can switch the toolbar position. So I'm gonna run all the way over here, okay? And so I have my toolbar now on this side. So you, depending on where you wanna teach from, you can also do that. Next to that is my save button, so I can save this whiteboard after I've been working on it, and maybe I want to reuse this the next day, or this is going to be my math station whiteboard, or it's going to be my daily routine whiteboard. I can go ahead and save it and reuse it. From there, I like this feature, so I'm going to start writing, but let's say I want to do a math problem. Okay, so I'm going to do, this side is going to be 3 times 7 equals, and then over here on the right side, I'm going to say 7 times 8 equals. But I want to have a little competition with 2 students at a time. I can do right underneath the save, it's a split screen. You saw that it drew that nice line right in the middle, and I can have 2 students work at the same time to solve their problems and show me their process. The nice thing is if I'm student over here writing, and then student over here is writing over here, if I erase, I cannot come over here and erase their stuff, okay? So it shouldn't work that way, and I have the tools at the bottom here with the colors, the highlighters, same tools over on the other side. So I have the same tools, but I created a split right in the middle so that my 2 students can be working. So I love that split screen, and I cannot erase, the student can't erase what we wrote before the split screen. So that's a nice little feature right there. I undo the split screen, and now I can erase everything, and I'm gonna do that. Next to that, we have the papers. Okay, so when I click this nice number symbol here, I can select different line papers. And one of the things that was making it hard for teachers to see is that that blue line on that paper was hard to see. So when you click on that paper selection, these four colors right here, these rectangles, are the line colors. So I like to tap on the black line, and now I have a clear line that I have right here for my students to use. I also can go to red and green, and then the circle colors are your background, so I can switch my background color. So I love the Notes app that I'm able to do that. Okay. And if I need a larger lines, wider lines, I can just pinch, I should be able to pinch open by clicking the select button, and I can pinch open these lines and make them wider. Okay, so I have that option to do that right there. Underneath that, we have the different templates that we can use. So I have many different templates that I can play with. Once, all I have to do is tap it, like this 100 chart is one of the favorites over in elementary, and I can use my marker or highlighter to go ahead and circle or underline. Let's say I'm counting by fives, 5, 10, 15, 20. I can have my students do that. So I like that little feature right there with my different templates that I have there. Now, if I did take a screenshot from the screen, no matter where I took the screenshot from, I can go to gallery, and then I can embed my screenshot into the whiteboard, which is really nice. Just like I'm embedding these templates, I can embed a gallery screenshot as well. So I love that I can do that in this template app. All right, so underneath that, we have the select tool. Anytime you want to get rid of something, you just click the select arrow, and now I can tap on this number chart and delete it. Let's try that again. There we go. And then I have my pen, my highlighter, and my different colors. If I click on the palette here, the color palette, I have more colors to choose from. So if I need more than just what's here, I can open up that color palette. We have eraser, we have the full eraser down here, and then we do have a couple of math tools, rulers, and protractors, and so on. So that is your Notes app. Remember, I can change the paper. I can always go back to a regular whiteboard. All right. To close the apps on a Promethean, you usually have an X down here at the bottom of the app, so I can tap that X, and I can close the app. The last app that's in the locker, but it's also right here in the toolbar, is called the Annotate, the one I'm going to talk about. The whiteboard is there as well, so you can always grab the whiteboard from there. So if I am, let's say, on the screen, I'm projecting something, I'm showing an image from the web, or I'm actually showing from my document camera, I can use this toolbar, which usually doesn't show up this high. I can select the color. I can also tap and select the width of the tip. I have a highlighter. So once I select the color, I can start writing on anything that is on this screen. Okay, so anything that's on the screen, I can start writing, changing colors. I can highlight. So if I have a paragraph up here and I needed to highlight words, find nouns, pronouns, verbs, I can also do that. I do have the eraser function, but you saw that with a flat palm or a closed fist, I can do eraser. And if you do have the eraser, then you just put it on the surface and you can start erasing as well. Okay. From here, I can just delete all my writing, and I can take a screenshot. So if I am writing on a worksheet that I'm projecting either from the web or I'm projecting it from a document camera, I can take a screenshot and upload it to my whiteboard app and use it there again. So I love this nice little annotations toolbar. All right, let's switch to source. So I want to go ahead and show you the mini PC, because you do have a mini PC, and there are some settings in the mini PC if it's the first time you use it, especially if you're changing over to a different room. So if you've been moved to another room, to a different mini PC, a different panel, you're going to have to do some settings when you log in. So this is the first time I log into this mini PC. So I'm going to click the source, and I'm going to switch to HDMI 2, which is where the mini PC is connected on the panel. So here it is. And one thing you'll notice as soon as you log in, as soon as you log into your mini PC, is that It's way too small. This screen is very small, and it's going to be very, very hard to see. So I have to go into the settings and increase the size of the screen to something that works with this huge screen right here. So I have a huge panel. I need to be able to increase the size of the screen. So I'm going to go into settings. So down here at the bottom, I know it's hard to see, but I'm going to click on Windows. And then there's a little settings gear right above power, and I'm going to get the settings menu. Now, normally you would think I would go to display and increase it from there, but one of the easier ways to do it is to go into ease of access. So this is the accessibility feature for Microsoft. So I tap on ease of access, and this is right here, make everything bigger, is where I want to increase. Now this screen is larger than most Prometheans, so I'm going to tap on this because we usually recommend a 200, right? So I'm going to go to 200, and you'll immediately see that that's a much better size screen for me to work with. But I could go a little higher on this bigger screen just to make it a little better for me. So you don't want to get too big to where everything's so big, but I can go ahead and work between 200 to 225, okay? Depending on the size of your screen. Normally we say 200, and that is a good size. So now I can go ahead and close this window. I've set my dimensions so that it's actually viewable to the students and to myself. It's a lot easier to see. And this is a PC. This is a computer, all right? It's over here on the side. It's on the back of the panel. It's a separate unit. So I have to manage them separately, okay? I have to manage these boards separately. I do have Microsoft Edge as my browser, but I can go into my apps here and I can view other apps like Chrome. I can view things like Word, all the Windows programs. I will have that all in here. And you probably will see a software center, which is like the self-service inside of your MacBook. And in here, if there are programs, then you will see them as well. On the Mimio PCs, we have a different self-service than on the Promethean. So if you get a Mimio, you will see something completely different. What was the name of that other one? Karen? On the Prometheans? I mean, on the Mimios? Let's see that here. Company portal. Thank you. Company portal. Thank you. Karen just reminded me about that. So I do have that. And no matter if I do Microsoft Edge or Microsoft Chrome, I want to log in with my EPISD credentials, because if I'm using that on my laptop, the moment I log in on my Chrome device, on my device here, then I will get the favorites. That will carry over the toolbars, anything that I have saved on that browser on my Mac, I will have over here. Remember, we want to be using our EPISD account for everything that we do on our EPISD devices, whether it be a mini PC, whether it be a Chromebook, whether it be a Chromebook or a Mac, or in this case, the Promethean here, we want to use our EPISD account. And I do have access to EPISD Plaza, so I can get to ClassLink, EPISD Plaza, and open up all the programs that I use in the classroom as well. So I have all that here just like I would on my computer. All right. So that is your mini PC. You can do the power options for this and sleep, shut down, restart. And so before I leave the day, I may want to shut down or put this to sleep. At the end of the week, for any of the panels that you're using, we do highly recommend that you shut everything down for the weekend so that you have a fresh running panel with a mini PC ready to go Monday morning. So tomorrow's Friday, do a full shutdown of all your systems so that Monday morning when you start, you have a nice fresh panel and mini PC. So I'm going to go ahead and shut this guy down. And now I can click that source button and switch back to the Promethean side. All right, so I have all that stuff on the Promethean side right here. Yeah, screen share. Let's do some screen share because that's something you may want to do. Although we highly recommend that you do use the mini PC the most. And with the mini PC, we're not showing it here, but we do have a wireless mouse and keyboard that goes with this. So you saw me using touchscreen, which is very easy to do. But if I needed to type something, I can use the wireless mouse and keyboard. But if you wanted to screen share your computer, there is an app in self-service called Promethean Share. Thank you, Screen Share app. And there is a newly updated app, so it may look a little different. But once you download it, to activate the screen share, I'm going to go to my flame or to my toolbar. And at the end, you're going to see the screen share option right here. I'm going to go ahead and tap it to turn it on. And Karen's going to do me the honor of go ahead and connecting to this. You're going to get a number, a panel ID number, and we're going to go ahead and screen share. Yes, please. You're going to share your screen so that she can show you how this is going to happen. She's typing in the number. Okay, now this. Okay, so she's clicking the enable touchback as well, so that I can go ahead and manage the computer from here instead of having to be tied to my laptop. Now, I do see the one right here, right? And so when I open up screen share, this probably is not the screen I want to be on. I want to be on the full screen share. And to do that, I'm going to click the silhouette guys right here. And now I see I am connected or waiting to connect to this panel. As you can see, you can have up to 39 devices. You can have 39 devices connect or be in the waiting room is what this is. And then you decide how many devices you're going to display at once. Okay, so on the Mimeo, you can have up to 9 screens. On the Promethean, I think we've done up to 12, 16, and they get smaller and smaller. So your screens will get smaller. Right now, I'm going to tap. And I know I've done the touchback. I can actually run the computer from here because of this dot. That dot tells me that on the app, Karen selected the touchback. So I'm able to tap. All right. So I just minimized the screen. So I can go ahead and run everything from here. I can open up Chrome once again. So there's my Chrome. The touchback feature is really nice because then again, I'm not tied to the laptop anymore. Even though I'm sharing my laptop, I'm not tied to it and I can run everything from the screen. So that's a really nice feature. If I needed to disconnect, down here at the bottom, as you can see on the screen, there is the Promethean, the minimize. So once you connect, the screen will minimize. When you tap on that or click on that, it'll open once again, and I can go ahead and stop sharing my screen. And so I'm back to the waiting room, and from here, I can go ahead and select different students. I can always go back to the waiting room, select somebody from sharing, and then go ahead and click on somebody else to share their screen. So if I'm doing presentations that day with the class, then I can have all the 5, 10 students that are going to present, go ahead and connect, and then I can tap them one by one as they are ready to do their presentation. So I do like that screen sharing feature. Again, we say mini PC for teachers so that they can run their lesson, and screen sharing for our students so they can share the work and the wonderful stuff that they do in the classroom. That's where we really, really want to use the screen share. But there's nothing stopping you as the teacher from using your screen share to share programs that might not be on the PC, things like iMovie and things like your GarageBand and stuff like that that's on the MacBook that is not necessarily in a PC. If you needed to share some of those programs, you can do that through the screen share app. So again, I like this. Again, one of the apps that I haven't shown here is the Recent app. I like that as well because I can go ahead and switch between apps that I have still active. So if I was using the Spinner, if I was using the Chromium, or I was using the whiteboard, and I needed to switch back to another app, I can quickly switch back to another app. Okay, so there is the Spinner. And if I go to the locker and I open Chromium, I can go ahead and go to recent apps and go back and forth between the apps that I have open. So I like that fact that I can do that as well. I have my recent apps. But if I do need it to close, kind of like the iPad, when we double click on the iPad home button, and then we swipe to close. Same deal here. I can go to recent apps. I don't swipe this time. I can just click the X to close out my apps. Yeah, so sometimes if the panel's been on for too long, right? If we don't shut it down often, we don't reset it, we don't restart it, that can cause us issues. Just like on our MacBooks, like on our computers, if we don't, like, first thing we ask when somebody tells us there's issues with their computer, we always say, when was the last time you shut down or restarted your computer? And if we hear something like, well, it's been a month, well, maybe it's time to do a restart. Same thing with the Prometheans. They hardly ever go off. So if you're not shutting them down, as we recommend every Friday, then you leave them on for a whole month, you're going to start running into issues. And sometimes, even after 3 days, you may start running into some of those issues. So one thing we do recommend is just doing a hard shutdown of the device. And all I have to do is press and hold that power button, and it will say shut down, you'll release, and it'll turn off, okay? We wait a few seconds before we start it up again. We press that button, once again, the power button, and we let it restart. The restart on the Prometheans is a little slow. It takes a little while for it to kick in, so just be patient with it. Once the white flame button turns on, then you know you can press it to go ahead and get into your Promethean panel. Usually that fixes the issue, unless Wi-Fi is down for some crazy reason, because it could happen, like it happened today. So if Wi-Fi is down, do you know how to reset your Wi-Fi? Okay, well, let's talk about resetting. Let's talk about resetting, because here it is. We've been away from our classroom for a month or 7 weeks at least, right? And we might have there was a lot of people changing passwords over the summer. So here's I'm glad you brought that up. I'm going to go into the locker, and I'm going to go into settings again. Okay, so when I do that, and I need to reset my password on my panel, if I am using Wi-Fi, then I go ahead and tap it, the network and internet, and I have my Wi-Fi, which is connected, but so is my Ethernet, right? So if I tap on the Wi-Fi, and let's say my Wi-Fi is not connected, and this should show up here in a bit. Let's say it was secure, right? Then I can press and hold, and I want to forget the network. So press and hold. So if it doesn't say connected, then you know there's an issue with the connection, whether it's the password or it might be the Wi-Fi. You might just want to forget the network. And then when you tap it again, you go ahead and enter your information again. The username, the password, all that stuff. So I can forget the network, and then I can open it, and I can go ahead and fill in my stuff, okay? So my username, I don't need to worry about the identity, but I do type in my password, click connect. Once I do that, it should say obtaining IP address, and then connect it. So that's one thing you want to do after a summer break. If you happen to reset your password, then you want to just press and hold. Again, although right now it's not going to do it because I'm not connected, but you press and hold, you get the selection to forget. Just forget it. Don't edit it. Just go ahead and forget it completely, and then you re-enter your information, and you're able to connect again with your new password, especially if it's not saved. If an old password is saved, you definitely want to go in there, forget your network, and do it again. That'll usually solve it. So maybe that's the first place you want to start, is with your network. Just forget it, restart. If it still doesn't do that, a hard shutdown and a restart will also fix that issue. Okay, that's a good question. I like that, because we are going to run into those issues as we are coming back to school. So if you haven't turned on your Promethean yet, Monday morning, you might find yourself with an issue of, oh my God, it's not connected to the internet, and how do I do that? Okay. So again, we're going to post all this on our website. We're going to post the recordings on our website, the DLR website, and we've recently changed our tinyurl. We had an issue with our website, so it's tinyurl.com/DLR EPISD. DLR EPISD. So we changed our password, our tinyurl link. Hover over the teachers tab. You're going to see the It's a Tech Tip page. You click on it, and inside of that, we're going to host the recorded videos. we're going to go ahead and do a blog blurb about what's on the video. And if we have any link resources, we're going to put the link to our resources. There is a course for the Promethean, for both Promethean panels, inside our catalog of courses. So our catalog of courses, if you haven't been there, that's another tiny URL. And so this is our website, but the other one is tinyurl.com, and it's going to be DLR, so /DLR catalog. And we spelled catalog with a UE at the end, kind of like the old British way. So just be aware, it's not catalog just with a G, it's catalog with the UE at the end. So DLR catalog will take you to our selection of online courses, and you can go ahead and click on the Promethean. It's going to tell you what the course is about, and it's going to give you a link to EPISD University so that you can go ahead and register for the course. Once you register for the course, you're going to see a Schoology course added to the bottom of your dashboard. Remember, you can drag and drop those courses and move them up and down, and you can take the course at your own pace. If you finish the assignment at the end, you will also receive CPE credits. All right, so that is all we have to share for today about our Promethean panel and the usage. This is a titanium panel. We do have some nines, Promethean 9 series panels out there. They pretty much work the same way. It's the same software, just a few difference in buttons, but they should have the mini PCs as well, and the setup is done the same way. So whether you have a titanium or an active panel 9, you're pretty much using the same features. There are videos in the course for both of those. We want to thank you on behalf of the DLR Department, Digital and Learning Resources. And again, thank you to Burgess High School for allowing us the use of the facilities. For the past 2 days, we've been working with librarians, but this afternoon for using this humongous PLC room and this amazing board to do our session. Thank you so very much. You have a great day. We'll see you next Tuesday.